Hey everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you so much for joining me for Flosstube 113, I think. Yeah, this is my third try to start this. The first time I just started babbling. The second time I had a hair in the middle of my glasses and like it was driving me completely bonkers. So we're gonna take three. There will be no editing, so you will just get what you get. I will have to pause to like look for things, but yeah. This is going to be, I think, a fun episode. I have a fully finished object, which I hope I brought over here. Yes, I did. Fully finished object. I have two WIPs that you haven't seen. Well, one of them you haven't seen in a while, but I did talk about it. One you have seen lately. I have giveaway winners. I have a new release giveaway that many of you may have seen on Instagram. And I purchased something and I got a fun gift from a neighbor. So let's get started. But before we get to any of that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. And welcome back to everyone who's been hanging out with me for as long as you've been with me. It has been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy, and that is linked down below. Yeah, so please follow me there. If you are interested in cross-stitch, embroidery, and other textile arts, history, vintage sewing, this is the channel for you. Please subscribe. I'd love to have you stick around and hang out with me. So I think what I'm going to do is just get right into the, excuse me, get right into why you're here. Or you may have just stumbled upon me and get right to like what we're talking about and start with the finished object. I have my little basket right here with all my stuff, but I have a finished object. So this is a fundraiser for my local arts council. I am a member of the board of the Arts Council, and I kind of try and find small, sustainable ways to raise money. So I designed this cross-stitch kit based on a sticker. Goodness. Sorry, I should have brought water. Oh, I have water. Hold on one sec. So much better. I apologize if this is your first video that you're seeing. I would like to say it's not normally this much of a shit show, but that would be a lie. So I designed this pattern, like I said, that is based off of a sticker that the Arts Council gives away to like stick on things. And I'm going to make them into kits. I already have all the materials and I'm going to sell them. Well, the Arts Council is going to sell them as a fundraiser. And then I think I'm also going to sell some just paper patterns as well. So that is, you know, a fun little thing that I finally finished. This would have been finished way earlier, except that this frame, it's just sort of a cheap frame, and I stretched the stitching on the glass because you can't, it's just, you know, it's one of those cheap frames that does not fit stitching. And the glass meant I didn't have to cut it or I didn't have to cut board or have random glass hanging out, which I have a lot of random glass hanging out and I'm tired of it. But what's it called? The frame was this like gross fake brown wood color. I'm like, oh, well, I'll spray paint it. So I spray painted and I was really proud of myself. I had lots of time. It was great. I spray painted this side. So I went to go put this together and this side was still gross brown fake wood. So I had to spray paint this side over the weekend and wait for it to dry. But I think it looks great. I think this will look good in the Arts Council. I think I did a really good job framing it. It is exactly centered, which maybe was a bad idea because all of like the heaviness is on this side. But it's good enough. And I like it. So that is my fully finished object. Now let's talk WIPs. I have, when I printed out pictures, I'm on my game today. Let's see here. I printed out pictures because I'm not editing, so I'm not putting pictures in. So sorry, and I'm bending down. There we go. So my first WIP that I've been working on is my July Patreon pattern of the witch. And I love her. And I am doing her on a 16 count Aida dyed by Esther, formerly known as the Danish Stitcher, now known as Speedy X Stitcher. And this was a giveaway for Alanka, Stitch Alanka's 1,000 subscriber that I won. And so I have completed this sort of little housey thing here, and her foot, I think, let me just look. Yeah, so her foot is right here, and I'll put this up so you can see. So this foot right here is right here. And I guess her foot's there too. So I'm going to do the bottom first, and then I will work up with the witch and then finish in the clouds up here. I'm not going to do all these lines just because the fabric has enough movement that I don't think that they're necessary. The issue I'm finding, however, and I may need your help with this, is I'm stitching it in Coloring Cotton Salem. And I love it. But Salem is a limited edition color, and I can't find it anywhere. And this is all that I have for the entire project. I think I'm going to need more. If anyone has a skein of Coloring Cotton Salem, I will buy it from you for a reasonable price. Please don't gouge me, but I will pay like market price or a little more than market price to get another skein of Salem. If you happen to have it, please reach out to me either in the comments down below or on Instagram, Dr_Christy. I'm not going to have enough. So any assistance with this would be very much appreciated. But I love it, and I love the color, and I'm glad I picked the color, except for the whole like not going to have enough, because it matches almost perfectly these sort of splotches up here. And yeah, I'm excited. So this over here will be like that big cloud, and then the witch will be in the middle, and then we have down on the bottom the little landscape. So I worked on this a little bit. I think last time you saw it, I only had this part here done. So I did this part. So there you go. That's what I did. I think I did about 200 stitches on this, which feels pretty good. So that is my first WIP. I'm gonna pause you while I put it all back together. All right, my second WIP is part of my Fat Mermaid Sal, hashtag Fat Mermaid, Fat Mermaid Sal. So Nadine of Nads X Stitch posted this cross stitch and beading book on her Flosstube, goodness, a year ago with these little fat mermaids. I love them. How cute are they? So I'm doing this maroon mermaid here, but in teals. And I'm doing it on a, I think this, I don't remember what count it is. It's the fabric I used for my birds. It's the fabric I used for my birds. April showers, maybe? Well, here I am, and I put in like 3 rows. I'm doing it 1/1, and it is very, let me just lighten it up. Sorry, I'm lightening it up. There you go, so you can see it better. So anyway, whew, now I'm really light. Okay, back to semi-normal. So I worked on this a bit, and I worked on this weekend because I had planned on making this for a friend of mine who had cancer. And I found out that she passed away in February. And I guess I shouldn't say friend, a college friend who I did not keep in very good touch with, but who I have very fond memories of. And we were pretty close in college, and afterwards we were pretty close. But then I moved away several times, and she moved away, and we kind of lost touch. But anyway, she passed away from cancer in February. I found out recently through randomly looking her up to see how she was doing, because I hadn't seen anything in a while. And I saw that. So her birthday was Friday. And so I worked on this Friday and yesterday, kind of thinking about her. And then something else happened too that made me think of her. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, she loved mermaids. She was a really interesting person and was a costumer and a haberdasher. Haberdasher? No. She made hats for various theater companies. She made costumes for Disney for a while. She made costumes for Norwegian Cruise Lines. She just sort of made costumes, and she had a theater degree and was had a very interesting career path. Yeah, anyway, so I stitched that and thought of her on her birthday. I had hoped to have it done by her birthday, but between getting COVID and having my tooth problem, it did not happen. But I felt good that I stitched it in her honor. And it's just using DMCs, just teal DMCs. I'm stitching it 1/1 in DMC. So those are my 2 WIPs. And yeah, those are my 2 WIPs. So let's do the giveaway. So if you remember from my last video, I'm doing a giveaway of Keeping It Clean, which I do not have a picture of. Oh, hold on, let me find one. Okay, so this is the chart that I'm giving away called Keeping It Clean. It's part of my Medieval Marginalia series. And I need to pause you again to get to random comment picker and pick the first person who said clean that comes up. So YouTube random comment picker no longer can filter by a word. So I just have to scroll until I find someone who said the word. So give me a second to set that up too. Okay. Now I haven't used this since it changed, so please bear with me. I had 24 unique comments, and we'll pick a winner. We'll start here. So Ellen Salin, I'm sorry if I am pronouncing your name wrong. You said, I enjoy your videos. Glad you don't keep it clean. I do have a bit of a potty mouth, so if anyone is offended by that, I apologize, but it's not going to stop because that's just, honestly, it's how I was raised. I was raised with a potty mouth. Yeah. So Ellen, I would love to send you a PDF of Keeping It Clean. Thank you so much for your comment. If you could just shoot me an email at I don't remember my email address anymore. I don't remember if it's Christy's Corner Craft or Christy Corner Craft, or on Instagram, Dr.Christy, but both of those are in the description box down below. So Ellen, Selin, Ellen, that's, you're the winner. So thank you so much for participating, and I hope that you enjoy stitching it. I have not stitched it yet, but I'm looking forward to stitching it as well. I think it'll be really fun. And it's so silly. And so I need to come up with my next, you know, plan for my marginalia. I need to kind of do a little marginalia scour because I want it to be off color, but not the same as previous ones. Because they could like pick more that are like penises, but that's already been done. Like we already did that. So let's find something else. So if you have a medieval marginalia that's slightly off color that you really like, send it to me and I will kind of compile a group of them and maybe choose it. And if I choose it, I'll send you a free copy. So the Keeping It Clean was because of Erin 2 Martini Stitcher, who sent me all these pictures of cats licking their butts for my next medieval marginalia. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And so that's what I did. All right. The next big news is that I have a new pattern out. And I have my 2024 non-bookshelf temperature pattern. Now, I've been teasing you with this for months. I've been talking about it for 6 months. I didn't know if I could pull it off. And I'm going to tell you, it was difficult. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it. But it is my temperature dragon. So I love it so much. This is what the cover looks like. And this is charted for my town in 2020. Because that was the last leap year. And this is so this is the leap year version. I will have a non-leap year version that also goes with it. So if you end up buying this after this year, it will be appropriate for a non-leap year. Normally, I don't do that because it's distinct objects that you can either split or like combine in order to create a leap year or non-leap year pattern, but or add in another little one or something like that. But because this one is part of a whole thing, that just won't work. So I'll just create a non-leap year version and add it to the Etsy shop. This is what it looks like charted. It's charted in DMC 137 and Ecru for the days. And then we have black accents and we have accents in DMC 04. So I want to talk about this a little bit because it looks really complicated, but I tried to make it as stitch friendly as possible. So let me show you the month breakdown. This is the month breakdown, and this is included in the PDF. So it starts in the middle with January, February, March, and then it goes around with November and December. So your stitch heaviest months are January, February, and November. Everything else is pretty chill. So this is fewer than 1,000 stitches. It's, I think, 124 by 136 or something around there. And it's fewer than, did I say fewer than 10,000 stitches? I think I did. Fewer than 10,000 stitches. So on average, you're stitching about 27 stitches a day, which is totally doable. Now, January, February, November are the heaviest. The other way I tried to plan this is that the face is all in November, December, January, February. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, the face should basically be cold. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, the face should basically be hot. So the face kind of looks like its own thing. And then the horns are the opposite. And so they really stand out. So that's how I try to design it. The other thing I did is I decided to make it a center start to be easy. And the center of the pattern is right there, right below this middle of the kind of forehead jewel. So what I did was I started, when I kind of colored it, I started with the interior of the forehead jewel, which is easy to count to from the center because the bottom of that's only like 5 stitches away from center. So my hope is that it's actually fairly easy to stitch. In the pattern, and I didn't print this out, but in the pattern, I also included my coloring path. Now, you can do it however you want. You know, whatever makes you happy, you can do it that way. But I started up here and did a little spiral and then moved down here. And then I kind of went around that way. And for each horn, I started from the base and went up. So there's actually no free counting. So you count from a previous stitch, but there's no counting outside of the pattern. Because for me, that makes it much more accessible and easier to do. It's full crosses, no backstitch. The other thing I want to point out is that the eye, the white of the eye, is not stitched. So you can stitch that in any color you want or leave it unstitched. I thought like a glow in the dark might be really cool, but that's up to you. And the other thing I want to point out is that these gray 04 lines are separating the sections, except for right here. This is December. The nose, like the nose with like the actual nostrils, is December. But when I separated that section with gray, it looked weird. So I didn't like how it looked. So I just explained it. There are explanations in the PDF, and it comes with a PDF of so I get a 1-page on color, 1-page, what's its face? 1-page symbols on color, 1-page black and white symbols, in one, plus the schematics in one kind of printable PDF. There's a second PDF that is Pattern Keeper compatible, but it only has these colors in it. So the pattern itself only has these colors because I included a temperature chart that gives you temperature ranges from like 28 degrees Fahrenheit to like 97 degrees Fahrenheit, or like below 28 degrees Fahrenheit and above 97 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and then it's also the equivalent in Celsius, which I don't remember off the top of my head, but I have that. And then I give you two colorways. I give you the bright rainbow colorway, which is this colorway here, which is super bright. And then I also gave you this colorway, which is more jewel toned. So they're both in there. I personally had to change the color chart for myself because it was too cold for me. My temperatures, I live in Mississippi. We get below 40 regularly, but not as a high temperature. And it doesn't make sense to have anything. So I do 40 and below for me. And then I kind of do increments up to like 96 and above or something. I give you directions on how to fix it and ways to like alter it and find your historical temperatures so you know what your temperatures look like in your area, your high temperatures. And I also have a video that I will link down below on how to do your own temperature chart and how to think about it that I did several years ago. So I will post all those things, but this is now available. And I think, so I want to do a giveaway for this. And so I want you to say leap year. Leap year is the keyword. So if you want a copy of Temperature Dragon, all the PDFs, say leap year in the comments down below. And I will do a random comment picker on Friday, because Friday is the beginning of Flossmas. So that's in like 5 days. So that's when you have the chance to win this on Friday. And if you've already bought it, when you contact me, just give me your number, your order number, and I'll refund the money from Etsy. So this is my newest pattern, and I'm so proud of it, like for real. I'm so proud of this. People have been really excited about it, and I hope that you are too. And I hope that if you're interested in stitching this, that you pick it up. You can find it in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below. All right. So that is, oh, that was my foot. That was my shoe on the chair. That wasn't anything. Have my water. Not editing is a trip, for real. I'm just like, yeah, this is a disaster. And it's just going to be a disaster. Because if I have to edit, it won't get done. So let's talk about purchases. I also got a magazine. Oh, no. What are we talking about? Yeah, we're going to talk about plans. We're going to talk about plans. Shit show. I told you it's a shit show. We're going to talk about plans. And let me get part of my plans. So first of all, I do plan on doing Flossmas. And I talked about this in my last Flosstube video. Basically, Flossmas is a short daily video where I will open up a couple advents. I have a... my brain's not working. It's right here. It is a Forbidden Fiber Co. I got the Forbidden Fiber Co. Advent Calendar, which I think is a Christmas Carol themed. I love A Christmas Carol. The Muppets Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas movie. So every morning I will open up, it's right here. That's why I'm pointing to it. I will open up my package from Forbidden Fiber Co. Advent Calendar. I think I'm going to stitch it along the way. And so then I'll show you what I've done the next day, if there's anything to do. And I also have like a shower bomb advent calendar, which I don't like taking baths. I take showers. Baths kind of just gross me out. And so I've been sort of finding places that do shower bombs because it just makes it smell nice and it makes me happy. So I bought that. And then I also have like a little beauty advent calendar that I got from Ulta, but I probably won't open that with you. And then I got a Lindt chocolate advent calendar. I just like opening little things, and I went to Cost Plus World Market and they had advent calendars, and so I picked them up. So that is a plan. And when I Well, so last year I did like new projects every day just to try things out. I did new projects every day. And I didn't finish most of them because most projects you can't finish in a day. So I think I'm going to start finishing those projects and just show you where I am. I'm going to pick a project and finish it that I had worked on last year for Flossmas. The other thing I'm going to do is I signed up for a correspondence course through the Embroidery Guild of America. And it is Embroidery with Mixed Media, an EGA correspondence course for all skill levels. So this is a correspondence course for how to use different kinds of materials in embroidery. And I have been putting it off. Well, I haven't really been putting it off. I just haven't had time. I was planning on doing this over the summer, but summer just did not work out the way I thought it would. So my projects are due to the instructor at the end of the year, which is in 5 weeks. So my plan is to work on these and do these projects. I ordered all the materials and they should be coming in the next week. So starting on December 1st or maybe a little later, I can start on these projects. And I think it'll be cool. So just to kind of give you an idea of what they look like, there are some pictures in here. They're not great pictures, to be honest with you. Sorry. No, I'll just show you this. So there are some like jewelry pieces and, you know, using different fibers and melty things and sort of scenes. I don't know, all sorts of things. So I want to work on this over Christmas, over winter break. So those of you who don't know, I'm a college professor, and our semester ends on Friday. So classes are done. This week coming up is finals week. And then our classes end on the end of finals week, and commencement is on the 1st. And then I don't go back as a faculty member until the sort of second week in January. Now, in that time, I'm also the chair of the department, so I have to do admin stuff, and I have to, prep my classes so that my students have something to learn. So I don't get to take the whole time off and just do whatever I want, but it does mean that I have more time and more flexibility, which is why I can do Flossmas and try these different projects. We're also going to sort of clean things up. I'm hopefully going to finally organize this room. It's slowly turning into organized, but it's too slow. So I'm going to work on that too. Yeah. So that is what I'm planning on doing for the rest of the year really is doing that. So I'm going to do Flossmas, open advents, do some stitching, do some mixed media projects, and continue on my previous Flossmas projects. Yeah. So that's the plan with that. Now I did a purchase. I go into Kicks. So I really like eBay. Sorry for the crinkles. I really like eBay. I buy a lot of my vintage sewing paraphernalia off of eBay. We don't have very good antique or thrift stores around here that have stuff like that. So I do it on eBay. And lately I've been on a textile kick. So I use handkerchiefs. I don't use tissues anymore. I stopped using tissues in the great paper shortage of 2020. And I have a video. If you want to use handkerchiefs and you want to know how to fold them effectively so that you don't have to put like snotty things in your pocket or your purse or whatever, I'll link that video down below too. But basically I took some old linen handkerchiefs that I got from my grandmother when they moved into their current residence, which is like an old people's home, where it's a assisted care facility. And I was never using them as napkins. And so I decided to start using them as handkerchiefs because I needed to blow my nose and there were no tissues to be found. So I don't have very many of them. I just have that set, and I tried making my own, but the linen just isn't as soft. So I went on this past week, I kind of got fixated on buying vintage napkins, vintage linen napkins from eBay. And so I was looking for lots of napkins because not like lots of them, but lots of napkins, like napkin lots. And I bid on 4 different lots and I won 3 of them. So I'm about to be inundated with napkins. You never know. I just wanted to make sure I had at least one set. But I also found this amazing antique cross stitch. Now, it is early 20th century, and it clearly came from a pattern because there are others that look like it. But this one is just so unique. So I want to just show you the cross stitch that I got and why I loved it so much. So this is it. And I love it. I love it so much. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It does have a J and a U and V. So it's not that old. Okay. So it's not like it's not that old. But I'm going to talk about the things I love about it. So first of all, I love this guy. I love this guy in his green and yellow. I love him. I love the little dog. I love this fancy building. All the other ones I saw were just monochrome. But I love this fancy building. And I love that they put fabric because they couldn't be bothered to stitch it. Because that is absolutely something that I would do. I love the colors. They're sort of like greens and oranges and yellows and corals. I just love it so much. So this had a frame on it, and I asked the seller if she would be willing to take it out of the frame because it was a junky frame. It was a really, really bad frame. And it was a bad framing job. And so I will frame it myself, and it has about 1.5 inches on each side for framing. It's not signed. Yeah, it's not signed at all, unfortunately. So I can't even like look up who may have done it or a date. But I imagine it's during the 20s and 30s when there was like a antique sampler revival. But I don't know for sure. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not planning on charting it and selling it. I just got it because of the dude in yellow and green, the colorful house, and the campy ass to full coverage with the fabric. I love it. I love it so much. So that is another thing that I got because it made me happy. And it wasn't that expensive. And by taking it out of the frame, I saved $30 on shipping. Can't beat that. Can't beat that. I got my needle arts book from Embroidery Guild of America. I'm not going to do a flip through, but there's a really interesting article in here by Dr. Isabella Rosner, and she's on Twitter, I know. But she did she wrote an article about early Quaker stitching. So when we think of Quakers, we think of the monochrome hexagonal motifs with the, images inside or whatever. And it's very, what does she call it? Sorry, I'm just trying to find this. I'm not seeing what I was waiting to see. No, it doesn't say. So in the stuff that we normally think about is not ornate. I mean, it's beautiful and delightful, but it's like Quakers were purposely trying to not be too opulent and ostentatious. But what she found, what Dr. Rosner found, was that early Quakers, like the first 150 years of Quakerism in the UK and in the Americas, they did really extravagant, opulent embroideries. And so this is an embroidered nutmeg. And I'm obsessed with embroidered nutmegs now, and I can find no information on Google about embroidered nutmegs because Google's algorithm has gone so crappy that they only push shopping. And so you can't like look things up anymore if you're not trying to buy something. But anyway, this was very interesting. And she did a podcast recently. I saw on Twitter. So if I can find the link to that, I'll link to the podcast below. I haven't listened to it yet. I will, because I want to know more about these embroidered nutmegs. The nutmegs were super expensive in the 17th century. And this nutmeg was from the 1640s, I think. 1680s. This nutmeg was from the 1680s and would have been worth more than its weight in gold. Nutmegs were incredibly expensive. They were only grown in the modern day, in Southeast Asia, I don't think it's modern day Philippines, but it's in that area. It's in Southeast Asia. And they were really expensive. So it's, embroidering around a nutmeg, and she did it around 4. She had 4 embroidered nutmegs. I want to embroider nutmegs, basically, is what I'm telling you, is I want to embroider nutmegs. So I got that, and then I got, this wasn't Happy Mail, this is a gift from a neighbor. Let me get it. Hold on one sec. It's very heavy. This is super awkward. So, backstory. I walk my dog every day. I'm very friendly. My dog is very friendly. We have friends on our dog route that we go up on their porch when they're sitting on and this is the South. People sit on their porch. So we go up on the porch, we hang out with these people. Random people that I just meet in the neighborhood. And I love it. I love it. I hit the thing. There we go. I hit the camera when I was getting this. I also have just a small craft business. I do craft fairs around my town, and it's called the Spoolery. It has an Instagram that I used to talk about, but I don't post on it anymore, so I don't talk about it anymore. But I take vintage sewing paraphernalia and I make jewelry out of it. I make home decor out of it. I make ornaments, stuff like that out of it. I love vintage sewing. So one of my friends, Robert, he is an elderly gentleman, probably in his 70s, who is friends with my dog and me, and from walking. And he said, "Oh, I have this like spool cabinet that I got from my father. His parents worked in essentially like a haberdashery shop in Texas, and this is from that shop, and they just kept it." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just kind of sitting in my garage, and I don't want to get rid of it, but I would love to give it to you as someone who would appreciate it." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I would appreciate it so much." So I go in to see this, and oh my goodness. And it's this. It's Star Twist, which is my second favorite spool brand of drawers. It's heavy. It's metal. And let's see if I can open it. And it has places for spools in it. This is really heavy. How amazing is this gift? And so I was super excited. He was super excited to give it a home that would appreciate it. And I think I'm going to use it for my DMC. I think this is going to be my DMC cabinet. God, it's heavy. I was going to put spools in it, but I think I'm going to put DMC in it instead because I'll actually use them. Does it have something in it? I thought I took everything out. Oh my God, this is really heavy. Oh, it has, Anyway, but look, it has like long rows. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go put this back. Okay, that was heavy. My arm's tired. Yeah, so it's made out of metal and the front is glass. And I just need to clean it up a bit and carefully because I want to keep all the, you know, the star and the stuff. I'm looking at it right now. That's why I'm like looking over there. Yeah, I want to keep it looking the same. I love it so much. I love it so much. And then that's all my stitchy content and just a little life update. I had a root canal. So I mentioned before that I had some sort of tooth pain. I was in basically agony that I was pushing through because I have things I need to do because I'm an adult for about 3 weeks. But I had a root canal on Monday, last Monday. Yeah, last Monday. Oh my God. What a difference. I'm swishing cold water like a superhero. Friends, swishing cold water. So I need to go back and get a crown. It's still a little bit sore, but not super sore. I can't eat on it, but luckily, you know, Thanksgiving-y food is soft, so that wasn't a problem. And I'm living life. I'm living life without pain. Dental pain is the worst. It is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. So I'm glad that that's over. And I was talking to my dean about this, about this situation. He's like, oh yeah, I had the same thing. I have a temporary crown in. I had a root canal 3 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that you understand why I've been unproductive in my life. So yeah, that has, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that it feels better. So glad that it feels better. I think that's it for me. That's all I have around me. I did go to Joann Fabrics while I was in the town with my root canal because that's where my local Joann Fabrics is. And I mostly just bought like clearance stuff and I don't have it here. So I don't even know where it is. I think it's in the house still. And then I also, I did a little arts festival last weekend. I did okay, but it was really fun. It was fun. And I figured out how to organize my setup to make it easier to set up. So that was good too. So I'm doing another little arts thing on Friday because on Friday in my town, we have something called Wassail Fest where people go wassailing and the businesses around town make their own wassail or wassail, but we call it wassail here. And basically like thousands, hundreds of people, maybe not thousands, maybe thousands, it's gotta be thousands, walk around, try all the different wassails and vote on them. And so I convinced the Arts Council to have a little pop-up like craft fair in their space as like a little mini fundraiser. You know, you pay like $25 and you get a table or whatever. Yeah, so that is what I am doing on Friday. And I don't remember, I don't remember where this was going anymore. Sorry. But anyway, that's it from me. Sorry if this was super chaotic. I actually have to go and make sweet potatoes because I have a Friendsgiving to go to in about an hour and a half. So I'm going to go make some sweet potatoes, not Southern sweet potato casserole. I'm making like a rosemary, like roasted sweet potatoes. I think that they'll be delicious, but I am not a huge fan of sweet potato casserole. It is way too sweet for me. I'd much rather like taste the sweetness of the sweet potatoes combined with savory to bring out the natural sweetness of the sweet potatoes rather than making a casserole and putting marshmallows on top. That is not what I do. So that is not what I'm going to do. And I've already warned all my Southern friends that they're not getting sweet potato casserole. I was assigned sweet potatoes, not getting sweet potato casserole. Yeah. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. This is much longer than I anticipated. And I will see you on Monday for Flossmas. Woo! Have a good week, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And have a good one. I don't remember what I say anymore. Thank you so much for joining me. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.